pull back into action at the weekend? I suppose the frustration is you couldn't get the win.
No, not for me. That's the truth. No, not at all. I think it was a game that we looked at, we worked hard at, and we done everything we wanted to do in the game. And sometimes if you don't put your chances away like that, the game will take the format. What was pleasing was our solidity without the ball, and no individual errors, which was huge. It's been costing us so much lately. And on Saturday we eradicated it and we got our first point. So, small steps and on we go.
From that sort of angle, does it sort of set the template now for moving forward with the rest of the season?
I think moving forward for the rest of the season is an interesting one, because I think most managers and everyone will be looking towards January, which is quite natural. For us, there's a lot of football to be played before then. So it's very much concentrating on the here and now, and also in mind of what we want to achieve this season. So it was a small step in regard to all of the above.
You mentioned that looking towards January now, 8 games to fit in before New Year's Day. There's a lot of football to come.
Hell of a lot of football, and it's good. The league's good. Reading Saturday, at times had probably more of the ball than us and carried the threat. The previous week it's Middlesbrough, it's Leeds, it's Sheffield United. They're all really Blackburn tomorrow with such strong teams. And every point in the league is it's tough to get. So when you get 1 point, you've got to be happy enough. The target now is obviously to move forward and win games. Bearing
that in mind that you've got so many games to fit in, is it difficult to keep an eye towards January in what you're looking for?
No, I think, football clubs, there's so much goes on in a football club nowadays in relation to the game and, the targets in the future. There's the planning that goes in. And, ideally for me, football is about planning, going forward, belief in what you do. Unfortunately for managers now, and we all know, it's become about instant results. And if that's the way clubs want to go and go forward with that, we've seen what happens to a lot of clubs who do it. There's not much guarantee of success. So for us, it's very much, running our club, managing our club as we see correct. We've gone through the new ownership, that's obviously gone through now. So we're now trying to put things in place that'll see us get to January. Ideally strengthen. If we don't get the correct players, then we won't strengthen. That's how football should be. We're not just going to say, we're going to bring players in January and everything's going to be great here and we'll be fine. That's not football. We've got a really good squad of players. Going forward, can them players get us to a position for January where we're nice and strong? And then in January, can we maybe do something that would see us improve the team? That's the key to football.
And given the injuries and the loan situation, does that force your hand a bit in January, or is it a case of, as you say, waiting for what players you want?
Well, young Jedi's had an operation now, and I'll see him out for 10 weeks. So, the reality is we haven't got a left back. Carl Naismith done really well Saturday. So I think even anyone in the right mind might have to think we might have to bring a left back in. If there's any unemployed left backs out there, give us a shout. This is football. And I said to our fans for a bit, managing, all the different scenarios is important. Whilst you want to win games, we want to stay in the league, we want to progress as a club. And to do that, it takes time and it takes careful planning. The immediate is the players we have available and trying to get results.
Given the injuries you faced and obviously the adverse form, how pleased have you been with the players in the squad who have really stepped up and sort of taken the responsibility on?
Again, you commented to the adverse form. If you look at the games and the teams we've actually lost to, I don't see where the adverse form comes from. It's football. If you're expecting us to beat Leeds, to beat Middlesbrough and beat Sheffield United away and possibly Millwall away, then it is adverse form. And that is what can creep in at a club. I don't see it as adverse form. If we scored a penalty at Millwall after 62 minutes to go 2-0 up, the likelihood is we might have won that game. We'd be sitting here on 24 points now, looking to beat Blackburn to probably go into the top 10. But now, the swing is it's adverse form, and that plays a major part in the psyche of a player. We end up making players feel like they're doing something wrong. I look at our team in general as I stood on the sidelines at Middlesbrough, Sheffield United, Saturday against Reading. Can I get any more out of them players? I don't think I can. Are we making mistakes in games? Of course we are. We've probably got the youngest back four in the Championship, and we wonder why they're making some mistakes. So for me, it's very much keeping focused on the next game, trying to get the next result. Positivity and confidence comes on wins. There's nothing like goals and wins for everyone's confidence, and that's what we're trying to achieve.
And now this week, Blackburn Rovers and Bolton, 2 local derbies. I suppose it's what football's all about.
Oh yeah, very much one at a time. I think, first of all, we start off with Blackburn, and again, having an excellent season. I'm sure Tony will be delighted. I read his comments after the game, and I thought they were absolutely bang on at Preston. I really did, you know. No reaction to the defeat. You know, we had people at the game, didn't do loads wrong in the game. You know, them players at Blackburn did earn that result. You know, it's not the end of the world for them. They've had a really solid start, a good start. You know, them like us will be no different. Their status in the championship and moving forward from there will be key. And I think Tony's done an absolutely excellent job to date.
As for your team, how are you guys shaping up? Obviously, Nick Powell had to come off at the weekend. Is that too early to assess?
No. We know our team, and that we don't have to discuss it now in the press. I think when you've got injuries like we've had, I think the key to it is just to keep our cards close to our chest, and obviously the team will go out tomorrow night to do its best to win the game. And
Blackburn, obviously, a team came up against last season. The last few years, the clubs have sort of followed each other, and a bit of a rivalry brewing there.
I think it's a nice rivalry, isn't it? You know, I think if you build up rivalries, sometimes it can get a bit, you know, where probably rivalries don't want to go. For us, there is a good rivalry. You know, last year we were both challenging for the league. You know, fortunately for us, we managed to win the league. There was never anything in it for the full run-in. It was a toss of a coin at times, especially when we were still involved in the FA Cup. And Blackburn got a little bit of a leap on us through playing more games than us. But our lads, great credit to them, you know, stayed with it and managed to lift the title at Doncaster. This year, again, Blackburn are above us at the minute. I've watched them a couple of times, and as I say, I'm sure Tony will be delighted with some of the results and performances they've had. Again, building for the future, in my opinion. Doing that with a very, very solid manager, a good manager, and a good set of players.
And like yourself, they're a side that carry plenty of threats in attack.
But listen, you know, all teams do. You know, Blackburn do, Reading do, Bolton do, Ipswich do. You know, every team, you know, carries threats. And, you know, in this division, you've got to be on your game. You have to be on your game to win games. You know, the pleasing things for us is cutting out the individual errors. You know, last year we managed to go possibly 9-10 games without conceding a goal. And as a football team to do that, it's quite remarkable. I think the goal we conceded was a penalty at Plymouth. You know, to go that length of time and then to see us this year, albeit with different personnel, you know, making individual mistakes at Villa Park, you know, I don't have to go through them. And these lads must eradicate them, because if you don't eradicate them, the likelihood is the results won't change till we do. Saturday we've managed to put a line in the sand, we've got a point. In my opinion, we did deserve to win the game. Our chances said that, but we never, and it's a point to where we want to be. And
obviously this game, a local derby in front of the home support, important I suppose to put on a show for them.
Again, it's what you media guys, you know, you build up. It's nowadays, you know, I was listening to TalkSport this morning, you know, and some of the phone-ins and talk shows we're having now, it's not right. It can't be right. We've got people speaking that derogatory about managers like Mourinho. It's ill. It's absolutely ill. But that seems to be the case. I said all along, when you support your team, it's highs and lows, it's thick and thin. For Wigan, we've had new ownership, we're going into a local derby, and we want to make our fans and ourselves happy. The way to do that will be to win the football.